DPO. So the first thing that I will share to you would be, in general, okay, what's the meaning of thesis compared to dissertation, mga ganyan, and other general concepts on research. But towards the end, we must be guided on how to make a proposal. But for your thesis seminar course, at least you must be able to have uh, thesis title defense. So that when you go to thesis writing, you will not start from scratch. You have already depended title, and uh, expectedly you have your some of the parts already, but the title defense is for the thesis seminar. And on thesis writing, you'll have two defense. So yung proposal is towards the beginning, no? So it must be scheduled, and then the final defense with the data is towards the end of the term or the semester. So take note, for our thesis seminar, most expected is that we will be able to have defended our uh, thesis title. We call it title defense. And in doing title defense, you have the title, the SOP, and of course an introduction, why you have chosen the topic, what's the importance of the topic. And from there, you have already the SOP, the theoretical framework, and the conceptual framework. So that when you go to thesis writing, you are ready for your data gathering. So kung makakagawa na kayo ng inyong questionnaire after ng thesis thesis seminar. So dalawa nakakalito, no? Thesis seminar tayo ngayon, and then next sem is thesis writing. Okay po. So to start with, dali lang ha. Hindi ko na inartihan ang aking PowerPoint presentation kasi marami. Kasi nga ang natin dito, ang importante dito yung content. Okay po, sandali. Okay. Natatakpan yung aking. So in this seminar, so we always hear the word thesis, but we have to be aware that there is also what you call thesis statement and final thesis. So what you will be doing is the final thesis. So to see the difference, when you say thesis statement, it is the focus of academic paper. Parang it's more on writing lang. So paper with clear thesis statement are typically required in liberal art classes such as literature and history, and can vary in length and citation style. So wala siyang data gathering na katulad nung magko-questionnaire tayo. It's more of research lang ng ito nga, kukuha ka lang ng mga sa literature and history. So it's more on readings, and then you have to make a thesis statement out of your readings. And in that sense, in that case, you have to put also your citation style. Is it APA, 5th edition, 7th edition? That's very important. But the one that we will be, because when you, kasi binigay ko to as I prepared, baka kasi pag may nakita kayong thesis, yung concept about the thesis statement ang makita nyo. So, para lang kayo ay guided, no? Okay, so when we say final thesis, and that's what you will be doing or conducting, is a longer academic paper required to complete a degree program. And this often require months or even years of research, and may be defended in front of a university committee. So itong kabila, walang defense. Just submit. Okay po? Another thing, okay? So when you say thesis statement, one or three statements in the introduction, and then an argument or claim that will be defended through your research, but you don't need to defend it in a panel, meaning you just defend in writing. And a strong thesis statement identifies the topic to be discussed. So yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. And it has two components lang, the topic and the argument about the topic. O, di ba? Yan. But hindi yan ang gagawin nyo. Okay? So, yung thesis statement, it can be argumentative if you want to present a topic with debate and reasons supporting that topic. Analytical if you present a claim and explain how it is supported. And expository if you will present a topic and explain what the reader will learn in your paper. So, yan yung doon sa thesis statements na pwede nyong mabasa. No? Okay? But for final thesis, and this is the thing that you will be doing, is a compilation of research on a specific topic. That's why in my class, I don't ask them to come up with title right away. I first allow them to get topics. Okay, and it's a required a master's degree, individual, pero kapag sa bachelor's degree, group, di ba? Group thesis. Kaya nga gusto nila by group by friends, okay? Start as a group, kaya lang towards the end, ano, friends over. Okay, madalas ganun yung nangyayari. Okay? And final thesis, a way to showcase what you have learned over your program of study and may even add to the body of research in your specialization. Or that's what we call body of knowledge. Kaya nga research eh. You search again so that the things that you will be able to that the things that you will get or that the things that you will the conclusion that you will be added to the body of knowledge. So what are the main components? Okay, introduction, literature review, which is part incorporated in for us incorporated in introduction. So wag na tayong titingin sa ibang format ng research sa ididiretso ko na kayo dun sa ating research format. So literature review is part of introduction and then methodology is chapter 2. Then results and discussion, we separate results from discussion. But in publications, there are some publications that require results and discussion to be together, but there are some publications that require results separated from discussion. And of course, conclusion and recommendation. Yung iba, ang conclusion and recommendation nakasama sa discussion. If the discussion is separated from the results, the conclusion and recommendations are in the discussion part. Okay po? So, maybe you have heard of the word dissertation. So, just to give you an overview, so the comparison in type of degree, usually thesis is for bachelor's degree and master's degree. But for dissertation, it is for doctoral level. In terms of length, will vary by program, but expect at least 60 to 80 pages plus the bibliography. Okay, doon sa ibang tinitinang ang kanilang dapat 100, no? Okay, ako naman tinitinan ko yung kanyang quality. Kasi yung iba nakahiwalay ang chapter 2, ginagamit pampakapal, pamparami ng pages. Okay, but that's not the use of chapter 2 na related literature. Kaya nga related literature, you will connect your study to this literature. Kaya kailangan yung nasa related literature mo, magagamit mo pagdating sa discussion of the results of your thesis. Kaya okay lang ako na 60 or 80 pages, basta connect sila. And in dissertation, hindi pa naman kayo gagawa niyan, di ba? Double the length of the thesis or more. Okay. And then for the purpose, in thesis, it is to prove how well you understood what you have learned during your graduate program. So, karamihan ng thesis is more on applied thesis. But there are some who are also doing basic research. I'm not against that. But more often than not, thesis is used to showcase what you have understood or what you have learned in your master's program. Kaya madalas diyan may tungkol sa leadership kasi yun yung naging subject nyo. Mayroon diyan tungkol sa sa marketing strategies kasi yun yung mga pinag-aralan. Okay po. But in dissertation, it is contribution of a new study or knowledge to your field. So, mas required sa dissertation that you must be able to come up with your own model, with your own concept with your own, hindi naman sa agad theory, no? But you must be able to come up. Kaya lagi nakalagay, input for this model. May mga ganun. Okay po? Or a basis in conceptualizing this model. But in thesis, usually it's more on enhancement or input lang siya. But you will not really come up with a program. But there are some. Kasi pag nakita na maganda na rin lang naman yung paper mo at kaya naman ng isunod yung program na mismo, ang output, then that is also required. Depende kasi yun sa content ng paper nyo. Okay? So, yon. Kaya it could be a basis, it could be an input. So, in thesis, we are doing a research. So, what is a research? Careful consideration of study regarding particular concern. And that particular concern is what we call research problem. And we will consider that we will use scientific method in studying that. And according to Earl Robert Pavey, okay, research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, predict, and control the observation, and it involves inductive and deductive methods. So, sinabi dito, describe, explain, predict. That is why in our statement of the problem, we have two types of question. We have the descriptive questions and inferential questions. And descriptive questions require descriptive statistics. Inferential questions require inferential statistics. So take note, sa statement of the problem nyo, yung mga what is the level of ganito, how may you describe, so yun po ay mga descriptive statistics. Pero pag ang tanong, is there a significant correlation between, is there a significant difference, is there a significant effect? So these questions are part of inferential questions that will require inferential statistics. So when you say inferential, you will make conclusion out of that. So i-ready natin yung sarili na mayroon tayong descriptive and inferential questions. Okay po? So when we say inductive method in research, it means you analyze an observed event while deductive methods verify the observed event. So inductive is more for qualitative and deductive is commonly associated with quantitative. So later on, I will show you quantitative and qualitative research. Okay po? So in doing or in attacking the research problem, we have to consider the 5 W's of a research problem. I don't want to start with what. We should always start with why. Okay? Why are you doing this research? Why are you attacking this topic? Why do you want to find out something out of this problem? Or why do you want to find out if this problem is really existing, not only in your own field or not only in your own classroom, but also on others' environment? And if you are interested, why you have to conduct this study, then the next thing that you will do is what? What will you ask? What will you gather? Okay? So that you can answer the why question in the first place. So knowing that you have to get this, the next thing is where will you conduct your study? Where? So the what are for the statement of the problem, the where is for the locale of the study. Locale means the area where you will gather your data. And when is important also in doing research, when will you conduct this study? Okay, gusto nyo graduate by August, dapat you will conduct it until gathering of data should be at least up to July. And the thesis defense should be on the last part of July so that you can answer diba, the what and the why in your study. And whom is referring to the person. So this may include the participants, who will be your respondents, who will be the participants, who will be the subject of your study. But it's not only that, it should also be for whom, okay, di ba? For whom will you be conducting this study? Sa amin pa, sa mga teachers, usually it's for the students. And for business, usually it's for the clients, di ba? Or for the business itself. Yan. So ito yung mga explanation niya. Objective of the problem, why there is a need of carrying out this. The what is the topic, o yan, as I mentioned. And then the where is the place, okay. Ayan po. When is the period of time. Kaya nga dun sa inyong general statement of the problem, di ba? This study, okay, gagawa tayo ng proposal, lahat po ay future tense. Future tense, gagawin pala. So this study will determine ano ngayon yung problem mo? During, yan ngayon yung when. Okay? Sa mga teachers, madali yan. During the school year, ganito. So for you, my dear MBA students, so you have to specify when is the research to be performed, especially yung gathering of data. Okay po? Who, from whom, and to whom. Ayan. And consider that we have the population or universe, the whole population. But since we cannot reach everybody who is involved in our study, we will just be getting some representatives. We will just be getting some representatives, or that's what we call sample. Sample is taken from the population. Okay, and we are doing that is allowed in research because of the limited time, okay, limited resources, ano pa. And the conclusion that you will give for your sample, for your respondents, will be applied or will be used also in giving conclusion to the total population. But if your sample is not representing the total population, then you should put in your study that the result or the conclusion is based only from your subject or respondents. Okay po? Pag sinabi kunyari kasi, what's the difference between respondents and subject? So the respondents are the ones who are answering our questionnaire. But for example, in education, the students, let's say the students are grades 1 to 3 and they cannot answer yet the questionnaire, but they are the subject of our study. So the respondents may be the parents or the teachers and the subjects of but the subject of the study are the students. At pag ganun po, meron tayong tinatawag pang mga ethics na sinusunod yan. Okay? Next. So yun na. Purpose in conducting research. So ang nilagay ko dito, this is what I research, no? Sa business daw ganito. So you may correct me if these are not true. But this is what I was able to gather this. That in business, research is conducted to identify potential and new customers, understanding existing customers, set pragmatic goals, develop productive market strategies, address business challenges, put together a business expansion plan, and identify new business opportunities. So ito po yung mga parang magiging output, no? Kung naka-IPO. Okay, yan. Sa education, usually yan yung mga basis for intervention. Hindi ko na nilagay. We can discuss that lengthily in our class. Okay, kasi marami pong purpose ng conducting research in education. Okay po. So we can discuss that in our class. But I put priority dito sa business. So may utang ako sa mga MAED students, no? Purpose in conducting research. Meron akong kailang mahaba eh. Okay po? Alright. And then, what are the characteristics of a research? Yan. Systematic approach to capture accurate data. Take note ha, accurate data as much as possible. Okay, practice ethics and code of conduct. So in WCC, we already established we already, ano tawag ito? Started, okay, and research ethics committee. So nagkaroon na po kami ng training, and we had a 2-day training on how to practice ethics in the conduct of research. And we have a set of, we have committee members, 13 I think, and the committee members in our research ethics committee are composed of professors or, yeah, personnel from the 5 campuses of WCC. So meron pong taga-QC siyempre, more on health allied courses, and then kumuha din kami sa ibang campus, may galing din sa Antipolo, may nanggaling din sa Gimba, may nanggaling din sa Binalonan, at may nanggaling din dyan sa ATC natin sa North Manila. At it is a requirement in the ethics committee na dapat may outsider. And we were able to comply on that. Actually, we'll be having our meeting, first organizational meeting tomorrow, to discuss the protocol that we will follow to practice ethics and research. So yon. Kaya Doc Melo, remember in our orientation, there was a question raised that bakit sabi ko doon lang muna sa systematic review, 'di ba? Kasi walang ethics gaano nga ano doon, just follow yung mga ayun sa plagiarism, no, yung mga ganyan. But yun nga, in gathering data, meron na kasi pong pagkakataon, no, just for your information, we have students in the health allied courses last semester who wanted to gather data from a certain hospital here in Quezon City, and but they were not allowed to gather data because they were asked to present a paper, a clearance, diba, from the Ethics Review Committee. Siyempre, hindi ako pipirma doon kasi wala namang Ethics Review Committee. I was the head of the research department, but there was no Ethics Review Committee before, so hindi ko talaga pinirmahan. So I told them, you just gather data from hospitals that will not require. And they were told by that from that hospital. And we know for a fact that WCC has no ethics review committee. O di ba? Uh, Nakaka-hurt naman yun. Kaya talagang kailangan ang ethics review. Yun yung po, Doc Melo. Yun yung aking hugot doon. Kaya I am very, very careful na hindi nung data gathering ng walang ethics. Kasi yun. And pwede naman din naman mag-systematic review ang sa MBA eh. Diba? Pwede rin mag-systematic review sa MBA. Just more on reading. Pero yung mga MBA students kasi yun na lagi sinasabi nila. Wala nang time mag-research or magbasa. But if you want to conduct systematic review research, yun po yung yun yung labanan doon. But if you will gather data, please take note. You will present the protocol to the research sa ethics committee at yan po ay anong tawag dito, study at bibigyan kayo ng clearance. So take note ha, you will not gather data unless you are cleared from the ethics by the ethics committee. Yun po ang nasa protocol natin ngayon, starting this year. Okay po? And then analysis is based on logical reasoning, real-time data. Kaya po yung mga nagre-research for the education, yung mga nasa MAED, kung ang inyong pinag-aaralan ay mga estudyante, dapat this school year. Okay po? This school year. Kung nakaraan na, you can, sasabihin nyo na it was done for the data that you gathered is from this school year. So, pagiging secondary data na lang yun. But as much as possible, we want primary data in the conduct of research. So, when you say primary data, the researchers are the one gathering the data. Okay? When you say secondary data, you are just gathering it from a source. Okay? In-depth analysis, o bahala na yan, depende sa inyong topic yan. Okay? It creates a path for generating new questions. Kaya po meron tayong recommendations for future researchers. Yan. Dapat maglalagay kayo dun sa recommendations for future researchers kung ano yung pwede nilang pag-aralan na hindi ninyo na naisama do sa inyong pag-aaral na tingin nyo importante. Hindi yung basta this will just serve as baseline data. Baseline data for what? Okay? So, yun po yung ibig sabihin. Next. Existing data helps create more research opportunities. Ayan, yun. It's just a repetition. Analytical and uses all available data. Yan, yung sinabi ko kanina. And accuracy is one of the most critical aspects of research. Part of accuracy is using instrument that is really appropriate for your data. So when you say research instruments, it could be or tool or questionnaire. So that tatlo po 'yan. Pwede siyang researcher made. Kayo talaga yung gagawa ng inyong questionnaire. Pero you will put the references. So itong problems 1, itong questions 1 to 10, saan nyo kinuha ito? Ano ang reference nyo dito? 11 to 15, saan ninyo kinuha itong mga so that you can show na hindi gawa-gawa nyo lang. Okay. Another type of a questionnaire is adapted questionnaire. So when you adapt a questionnaire, meaning you will get a questionnaire that has been used by the proponent or by the one who developed it. So, tabi-tabi po, you need to ask permission to use. And you have to write and to show to the panelists that you were able to secure permit to use. Okay, what if you will modify? So modified questionnaire is allowed to be used, but you have to show first the original and the proponent of that original questionnaire. And then you will also explain or justify, okay? So these items will not be used because, you have to justify why we will not use all the items. And then what will be put as a new item? Why? So yun po yung essence ng paggagawa ng research instrument. Kaya kung makakakuha kayo ng if you can adapt a standardized tool, it's better because you will just ask permission to use. Ang challenge diyan, minsan matagal silang magbigay ng permit to use. Okay. Now, if you will modify, please, when you request, you have to include that in your request that you will use the questionnaire and modify at the same time. And you have to explain why you have to modify. There are some proponents who don't like modification of their questionnaire because, the construct or the essence, the concepts of the behind in the formulation of the original questionnaire might be affected. Kaya po, nagpapaalam tayo. At yan po ay nahanap ng ethics review committee. Pagdating sa instrument, hanapin kung ano ang gagamitin nyo. Okay. Pag researcher made, ganito ang expectation. Kapag modified, ganito ang expectation. Kapag adapted, ganito yung expectation. Okay? And kakambal po, okay, kapag po ang inyong ginamit na instrument ay standardized, alam na din kung ano ang gagamitin ninyong statistics. Okay? So we call that appropriate statistical tools to answer your question. So if you will be using standardized tool, na andun na rin po kung paano siya sagutan, paano siya i-administer, paano siya i-score, and paano i-interpret ang score pag standardize. And meron din yung mga sample studies na ginamit na yung instrument na yan. So makikita mo rin the statistics used in answering the problem. Okay po, maliwanag yun ha. Tawag dito, right instrument with appropriate statistical tools or formula. Yan. Then we have the methods of research. Okay. may na-research ako na there are so many ways to classify research. No? Just for your information. No? Kasi yung iba dati, alam natin, lagi lang quali, quanti, and mix. But, we classify research according to some criteria. Okay? So, classification of research can be according to its purpose, according to the time in which it is carried out, according to the source of information, according on how the data is obtained, according to the degree of manipulation of variables, according to the type of inference, according to the type of data used, and according to the depth of the scope. So just for you to get a wider, no, di ba, understanding about research. So ganun po, hindi po pag sinabing, what are the types of research? Sagot ka agad, quali, quanti, and mix. That's just one way. It is, nandito lang yan, according to the type of data use. Okay po, so, pasadahan lang natin, no? Bilis lang. So when we say according to purpose, it can be basic or pure research, an investigation on basic principles and reasons for occurrence. So yung sinasabi kanina, pwedeng ganon, no? Yung sabi kanina sa dissertation, di ba? And sa thesis, pwede kayong, you may be able to come up. So, sa IT, alam ko, talagang gumagawa sila, no? Ng mga panibagong system. Okay. So, yan. So, pure research is the knowledge of facts and theories to give a satisfaction of knowledge and understanding. It discovers general principles for a problem solution. So, yung parang naalala ko yung IPAS na yan, it's a pure research eh. Kasi they discover general principles for problem solution. Okay. Yan. And then, according to purpose, it can be applied research. Usually, sa thesis ng mga nasa MAED, applied. Okay. Is the implementation of theoretical study upon problematic situation, applied its theories and facts to know about the nature of the problem, and give concrete shapes for the solution. Pero nakita ko sa MBA, pwede rin kayong mag-applied research. Okay po. Apply nyo yung, ano nga yung 4Ps, may piece in, ano ba yun? Marketing strategies, may nabasa akong ganun eh. Okay. So, pwede nyo yun yung gawin ninyong theoretical framework. And then see if this applies in a certain business or a certain company. Diba? May piece yun eh. 4 ba yun o nadagdagan na rin? Okay po. So, a scientific study, applied research is a scientific study and research that seeks to solve practical problems. Yun. Kaya sabi ko, more of the MAET thesis are applied. Okay po? Ganon din naman sa mga health allied courses. Okay. According to its purpose, it can be applied also. Yan. Action research, so mga teachers. Okay. Action research is based on the taking of immediate action on the happening event or situation. Ang lagi ko sinasabi pag sa action research sa teachers, kasama ka dun sa eksena. Okay? Kaya nga sabi ko, I don't know if my students can still remember, I asked you, what's your problem? What's your problem in the classroom? Okay. Yan. The researcher is actively involved in the solution of the problems. It is quick, service-oriented, in taking immediate action, and is sensitive to time and place. Okay. So, evaluation research. So, evaluation research, pwede ito sa MBA. Okay. Of some programs working for the construction of problematic areas, it is the darkness of the programs about their effects and positive solution. So, pwede ito sa MBA, okay, evaluation research. There are 3 main types of evaluation. Concurrent means continuous process of evaluation. Phase or periodic evaluation is stage-wise. So, malaki yung problema, so ito muna. Usually, ganon, di ba? So, you put the whole problem into sub-problems and you evaluate each sub-problem. Okay. Then according to the time which it is carried out, longitudinal study, okay, also referred as diachronic research. It is used to observe phenomena, an individual or a group of research subjects at a given time. And this can take place over a period of weeks. So, ibig sabihin, you have one set of respondents, pag-aaralan nyo sila over time, hindi lang ngayon. Okay po? Kaya longitudinal research. Okay. Several, wag naman decades, no? Pwede sigurong years or semesters. Okay, magbigay na example later. The other one is, the opposite of this is the cross-sectional study, which means that, okay, it is also referred as synchronous. Okay, synchronous kasi sabay-sabay. Okay, used to observe phenomena an individual at a given time, pero sabay-sabay mo silang pinag-aaralan. So during the time na nagsisimula pa lang ang K-12, madali akong makaisip na example kapag sa education. Tinitingnan, di ba pinagamit ng ng Filipino, no? Yung grades 1 and 2, wala muna silang English. Sa grade 3 nagsisimula yung English subject. So, ang tanong, effective ba? Kaya may mga studies, no, that time, effectiveness of the use of mother tongue, mga ganyan-ganyan. So, sabay-sabay, grade 1 and 2, sabay nilang pinag-aralan. So, that is cross-sectional. But, if ginawa mo siya, pagbuhat sa kinder, tiningnan nyo, in-observe nyo according to your problem, din nung nag-grade 1 sila pa rin yung inyong subjects of the study, nung nag-grade 2 sila, hanggang sa nag-grade 3, that is longitudinal na. Okay po? But you have the same purpose to find out if the use of mother tongue is effective. Yung isa lang, sinabay-sabay mo na kasi gusto nang malaman ano ba talaga ang estado at the moment. Yung isa naman, ano ba ang estado after some time of using it. Pero effectiveness pa rin ang kanilang concept. Okay po. Next is according to the source of information. So yung sinasabi kanina, primary research. Okay? Technically, the researcher own the data. Okay? So that's why you give questionnaire. You want to gather the data so that if others will gather data next year, that's different. Okay? Even if they use the same questionnaire. Okay? While secondary research, ayan, or desk research, okay, method that involves using already existing data, and that's why we call it secondary, coming from a source. Okay, so the existing data is summarized and collated to increase the overall effectiveness. So yung iba, they are getting secondary data, di ba, to see what is established already, but at the same time, they are asking questions to verify. So there is a combination of primary and secondary data. Okay. So documentary research or secondary research also is based on systematic review of existing sources of information. Ayan. So diyan papasok ang ating, ito kasi yung ating review systematic. Okay po. And then according to how the data is obtained, is it through field research? Yan. Okay. Field studies is the collection of raw data outside the laboratory, the library, or workplace setting. So yung mga lumalabas just to gather data. O di ba yung sa mga nalala ko yung mga sa MBA, okay, you want to find out kung ano ba yung gusto mong mag-produce ng bagong shampoo. So ano ba ang most preferred in the field? O di ba may mga field, ano ka dyan to gather data, may mga question, may tinatanong. So based on the data that they'll be able to gather, di ba, in the field, then you may come up with a recommendation na ito pala ang ito pala ang in. So kung if you want to come up with a product that is saleable, di ba? So you must consider all those. Okay. Laboratory research, syempre, as the word implies, it is done in the laboratory. Okay. This is also called scientific, experimental research. So, yung iba dito nagkakaroon ng different terms, no? Iba-iba lang naman yung ginagamit, but you are doing it in the same time. Okay, so degree of, yan, experimental research. Adheres to the scientific research design. Yan, so you have the control group and experimental group. Ayan. So, i-compare mo ngayon para malaman mo kung effective talaga yung nasa experimental group. Okay? and it is done in a controlled environment, usually in a laboratory. So sa mga health allied courses, ganun. Sa MBA, hindi ko alam kung paano man a-apply ang experimental research. Baka dun sa paggawa ng product, no? I am not so sure about that. Okay po. And then, according to the degree of manipulation, quasi-experimental. Okay. So quasi-experimental is just like a true experiment, but does not rely on random assignment. Or in layman's term, I always say to the teachers doing research that when you do experimental research, because you have controlled and experimental group, but you are not doing it in the laboratory, but you are just doing it in your classroom, diba? Because it is something about your teaching style or teaching strategies, then that is quasi-experimental. Quasi means as if, okay? To establish cause and effect relationship between independent and dependent variable. But you will not do it in the laboratory. Okay po. So yung mga teachers, pag gumagawa ng experimental research, ang ipinapalagay ko, quasi-experimental kung hindi nila ginagawa sa laboratory. Okay po. Yung mga effectiveness of the ganito, quasi-experimental po yun. Okay. According to the degree pa rin of manipulation, non-experimental. Okay. So non-experimental research, yan, observational. Okay. Sometimes yung iba ginagamit nga dito descriptive. But non-experimental means you will not do the actual experiment. You may just observe, okay? Or you may just ask about the research that they did in terms of experience, in terms of learning. So that is non-experimental. According to the type of inference, remember may deductive and inductive ako nasabi kanina, okay? Deductive research is, as we know, mga teachers ko alam na alam ang deductive approach from general to specific. Okay, so ganito yung ginagawa nila. You know the theory, from the theory that you will come up with an hypothesis and then observe a certain or with the respondents. It's not just observation, but just you may do the research and confirm at the end na ay totoo pala according to this with my respondents in a certain area, I can say that this theory applies. Kasi baka sa ibang lugar with other type of respondents, it might not apply. So, but there is already an existing theory. Okay. Inductive is the other way around. Okay? You observe, okay? So nakita mo na ito yung parang ito yung problema mo sa mga estudyante mo, and then you observe others, and then after observation you'll be able to see a pattern. Parang ganito lagi ang nangyayari. And then from that, dahil you can observe a certain pattern, so you can say na ganito ang iyong magiging hypothesis, claiming that you may be able to come up with a statement, and that is a hypothesis that then you prove, okay, using statistics with your data, then you can either approve or reject or accept the hypothesis that you have formulated. So that is inductive research. Okay? Next po. According to the type of explanatory. Okay. So yan. Establishing cause and effect relationship that allow generalizations to be extended in similar realities. So meron pong mga concepts sa business na ginagamit na ngayon sa education. Diba? Ginamit dyan explanatory research. Dati, merong ginagamit naman sa education na trinay ngayon sa business. Meron akong naalala, pero hindi ko siya maalala ngayon, but dati may example ako dyan. Ay yung mga ginamit na yung 360-degree evaluation. 360-degree evaluation is a way of evaluating something or the company using 360 degrees means you ask all the stakeholders. So, the top management, the middle management, and at the bottom. So, lahat tatanungin. Di ba 360 degrees din, kunyari sa restaurants. You ask the, di ba may mga sinasagutan tayo sa ano eh, sa mga restaurants, no, sa customers. Ayan. Pero pag tinanong mo yung mga staff, pwede sabihin nila na they are courteous, they serve it promptly, o di ba? But there are some customers who will give other way around, na hindi sila mabagal ang serbisyo, yung mga ganun. So in that way, yung verification process, that is evaluation, and that is 300, you may consider 360 degrees by considering also the top management. Yung ba talaga yung provision nyo dapat na ganito? Yung bang ginagawa ng mga staff nyo ay dahil yun ay provision na from the top management. So, provision ng top management na gagawin dapat ng staff ganito, ginawa ni staff verification sa mga customers. So, lahat ng involved must be asked. Yun yung tinatawag na 360 degrees. And you know, the 360 degrees evaluation, research ko yan eh, it started from military. Okay, military situation, yung unang gumamit ng 360 degrees. And then, okay, hiniram ng edu, diba? Pag nag-evaluate ng teacher, si estudyante, si teacher, may peer evaluation at mayroon ding evaluation ng mga top management. So, ginagamit din sa business. So, yun po yung sinasabi natin. Okay? And then next, correlational research. So, alam na alam niyo yan. Correlational, yan lagi. Is there a significant correlation? Is there a significant relationship? Okay. So, it refers to the systematic investigation or statistical study of relationships among two or more variables. So, pag two variables, may corresponding statistics na gagamitin dyan. Three or more variables, iba na rin yung statistics na gagamitin natin dyan. Okay po? So, yan. Kaya, that's the reason why you are seeking the assistance of statisticians. Okay po. Because even if you ask the same question, even if you have the same data, but the way that the question is answered is different, ay nako, hindi po parehas ang gagamitin na statistics yan. Kung nagpa-yes or no ka sa kabila, nagpa-rate ka naman dito ng 540 to 1, exactly different na, hindi exactly the same. Okay, different na po yung gagamitin na, ano natin dyan, na statistics. Okay? And then, according to the type of comparative. So, comparing, o mas magaling ba yung yung gumamit ng calculator sa hindi gumamit ng calculator when you teach math. So, comparative yan. So, kung dalawang sections lang yung kinumpare mo, you have a certain statistical tool or formula to use. But if you have 3 or more groups using, hindi na po pwede yung ginamit nyo sa 2 groups lang. Pwede rin na nag-compare ka, pero before and after ang iyong ginamit. Yung bang tinitinda nyo na slimming pills, pampapayat, effective ba siya? So, hindi mo naman, ang i-compare mo doon, hindi yung iba-ibang grupo, di ba? Dapat ang i-compare mo muna yung before and after nung isang grupo para malaman mo may effect ba sa kanila. And then, saka mo na lang i-ano sa labas. So, iba rin yung gagamitin na formula dyan. Okay po? Yan. Similarities and differences. Okay, according to data, dito na, according to data use, yun yung sinasabi kanina. It's either qualitative, okay, using non-numerical, okay, or you use words, okay, and the other one is quantitative, okay, you use data, numbers, analyzing numerical data, okay, yan. But meron diyang, mamaya ipapakita ko sa inyo, between qualitative and quantitative, may mixed method tayo. Okay? According to the exploratory, ito naman iba. Okay po? So, wag na pala kayo magano. I can send this, Doc Melo, I can send the PowerPoint presentation if needed. Okay po? Alright. According to the scope, descriptive research, yung sinasabi ko kanina, non-experimental to. Okay? Kasi di ba kanina dun sa non-experimental may nakalagay na nag-observe, di ba? So the descriptive research, it's also observational. So answering the question of what than why. Ano lang yung nakita mo? What's the reason behind that? It's not the scope of your study. That is descriptive. Pag inalam mo na ano ang reason, cause and effect na yon, quasi-experimental ka na. Okay? So, depende sa questions at sa scope ng inyong hahanapin. So, in short, we can say, dahil sabi ko kanina, quali, quanti, and mixed method. Under quali, so yung mga pinakita kanina, kung nandun ka sa explanatory at puro words lang yung gagamitin mo, wala kang numero, then under siya ng quali. Pero kung ginamitan mo naman siya ng mga 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mga ganyan, in describing how they feel, that is quanti. Now, pag ginamitan mo both, meron siya. So, yung mga pinakita ko sa nauna, that can be classified into quali, mixed method, or quanti, depending how the data, depending on the data used and how the data are manipulated. Yan, so yun po. And nabigay ko na to sa aking MAED, pero just for general information again, so pag quantitative, ganito. Ang quantitative po, I always say to my students, mahirap magsimula sa quantitative kasi you have to look for the theory, you have to establish you have to make SOP, and you have to formulate your hypothesis. Kasi hindi mo na yan pwedeng galawin oras na nag-gather ka ng data. Ang gagawin mo na lang when you gather your data is to see if you can accept or reject your hypothesis depending on the data that you have gathered. So, ano ang mahirap? Ang quantitative, mahirap simulan, madaling tapusin. Ang qualitative, madaling simulan, mahirap tapusin. Kasi yung qualitative, kuha ka lang ng kuha eh. And you may change the question, the research question as you go along. Pwede kang mag-follow up question. Kaya parang dahil sa pwedeng mong gawin yon, it is possible na hindi mo alam saan ka lalanding. So mahirap magtapos. And not only that, kapag numero yung ginamit mo, may statistics ka, gagamitan mo ng formula, and then you will interpret the answer. Kaya madali magtapos. Pagdating sa quali po ay hindi ganon. Gagawin mo mga thematic, yung mga sagot nila na galing kung saan-saang iba-ibang konsepto, iba-ibang tao, di ba? Iba-ibang pananaw. Magbibigay sila ng kani-kanilang sagot. So, you will look at the lens, okay? So, yun ngayon ang iyong interpret. Paano mo ma-interpret yun? Di ba, you put together, sama-samahin ng pare-parehas, ganon. And we call it thematic approach. It's just one way. There are many other ways to do it. Okay po? So, ito ngayon, ito naman pag sa quality, ay sa quantity. Okay? Yan po. Yan. So, ito yung pinagkuhaan ko. Okay? So, yan. Describe, predict, and control. Kasi nga, di ba, pag nasa experimental tayo, may control. Okay po. Just to connect it to the previous things that I have done. Okay? Yun nga, di ba? Test the predefined theory. So, may theory ka nang nauna, gumawa ka ng hypothesis, di ba? As I mentioned earlier. And then from there, you can either, and then you gather data, and then from there, you can either reject or accept your null hypothesis. Okay. Okay, this testing the causal relationship between variables. Establish patterns, as I mentioned earlier. Compare data from different groups. Okay po. And then generalize result based from the sample to wider population. Kaya sinasabing inferential questions. Inference, infer. You make a conclusion for this group of respondents from this sample, and from this sample, you will come up with a decision, a conclusion. Now, can the conclusions formulated for this set of samples be applied to the general population at large? Kaya po, very important ang sampling. That in sampling, there must be proper representation. Okay po. Yan, large sample size, kailangan, di ba? Structure data, easy to use data collection methods, and then yung data analysis, you use a formula, di ba, may stat, and then it's reliable. The more, in quantitative, the more, the better. Okay po. The large number, kasi di ba, if you have a large sample size, parang you will reach many samples. If you have limited sample size, maliit lang ang sample size mo, kunti lang yung natanong mo, baka hindi mo nakuha ng representation yung ibang grupo. Okay. Kaya the the more the better. Okay. You can give a better conclusion or inference if you have a larger sample size. Ang tanong, ilan ba? O, di ba? So may formula po tayo diyan. Take note ha, wag po na tayong gagamit ng Sloven's formula ngayong tayo ay nasa kaya natin yung Sloven's formula gamitin doon sa undergrad kung ginamit nyo dati. Hindi ko sinabing mali yun. But Sloven's formula have limitations or has limitations. So now that we are in the graduate school, so let's explore, let's use formula other than Sloven's formula. And there are many available na. Okay po? Yan. And then reusable outcomes. Kumbaga duplicable, meaning you can replicate, but not you will do exactly the same study, just replicate. So when you say replicate, you may use the same questionnaire, but you have different respondents, and it will be conducted in a different place. Okay. Yan. So yan ang atin. So may theory, then yung hypothesis, then yung research design, ayan po. Okay? So I hope na napagdaanan nyo na yun, lalo na yung gumawa na ng my questions na. So, what's the problem na gusto mong talagang, pinpoint the problem na gusto mong pag-aralan. And then, create a research question. Ako, hindi ko sinabi agad the research question. Basta, I ask my students, just write. Ano ba yung gusto nyong malaman? Don't be conscious if it's researchable or not. Ako magsasabi sa'yo kung researchable or not. Pag nakita ko na researchable naman, but it's not properly stated lang, then we will rephrase it. So basta ilagay mo kung ano yung gusto mong malaman. Okay po? And you will convert that into a research question. And then maggagawa tayo ng hypothesis. Okay? Yan. Then from there, research design. Kung meron ka pong hypothesis, yan po ay quantitative. Kung meron kang assumption, yan po ay qualitative. Kung ikaw po ay may assumption at saka may hypothesis, yan po ay mixed method. Okay? And then decide the sample size. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina. Okay, you will be guided here in selecting the sample size by the research advisor. Okay, kaya may mga advisor, dapat din. Yung research design, depende yan sa mga nabasa mo. Ayan. Research site, o diba, kung saan, yung sinasabi ko kanina. And then, data collection, na-identify mo na lahat yun. Kaya nga process ito eh. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-data collection na hindi mo na-identify saan ka muna mag-collect ng data. Okay po? And hindi ka pwedeng mag-data analysis kung wala kang data collection. Diba? And results presentation. So this is a process. It should not be rearranged. Okay. Yun. So put in that order para madaling matandaan. And I am hindi pala sure. In most cases, kasi nag-i-statistician din po ako sa MBA at saka sa mga marketing students, ang madalas talaga nilang pinag-aaralan ay quantitative. Parang wala pa akong na-encounter na quali yata eh. Sa mga usually talaga sila, nag-house to house, nag-gather sila talaga ng data outside. Pero, hindi naman laging ganun, no? Depende po sa gusto niyong pag-aral. Okay? So, ito po yung 6. From theory to presentation. Okay? Ngayon, yung theory na yan, nahanap mo yan kasi may na-encounter kang problem at sa pagbabasa mo, nakita mo, ito pala ang theory about that problem. Yes, continue tayo. O yan. So, quali na tayo. Okay po? So, yung quali, yan. May kinds din siya, di ba? Nabigay ko na po ito sa mga MAED, no? Pero just to put things together.